Before we begin, welcome to another journey beyond imagination. If you love mysterious stories, time travel, ancient secrets, extraterrestrial civilizations, and mind-bending science fiction, make sure to subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications so you never miss an adventure. Your support helps me continue creating stories like this, so let's begin. The world had always believed that time travel was impossible, that aliens existed only in movies, and that the Bermuda Triangle and the Great Pyramids of Egypt were simply mysteries waiting for ordinary explanations. But Dr. Ethan Carter knew something different. For more than 20 years, he had dedicated his life to uncovering hidden truths buried beneath classified government files, forgotten civilizations, and unexplained disappearances that had puzzled humanity for centuries. Most people laughed at him. Universities refused to publish his research. Governments denied every discovery he presented. Yet every piece of evidence pointed toward one terrifying conclusion: humanity was never alone. Late one rainy evening, Ethan received a package with no return address. Inside was a small metallic cube, unlike anything ever created on Earth. It had no buttons, no seams, no visible power source. The strange object emitted a faint blue light that pulsed slowly, almost like a heartbeat. Attached to the cube was a single handwritten note. The truth begins beneath the Great Pyramid. Do not trust anyone. They are already among you. Ethan's hands trembled. Who were they? The next morning, he boarded the first flight to Egypt. Standing before the Great Pyramid of Giza, Ethan felt strangely familiar with the monument, as if something inside his mind recognized it. Thousands of tourists surrounded him, taking photographs, unaware that beneath their feet lay secrets older than recorded history. At sunset, the metallic cube suddenly activated. A beam of blue light projected toward one specific stone near the pyramid's base. The stone slowly moved by itself. Hidden beneath it was a staircase descending into complete darkness. No archaeologist had ever discovered this entrance. Ethan switched on his flashlight and walked down. The deeper he went, the colder the air became. Ancient walls covered in symbols surrounded him. Not Egyptian hieroglyphs, but symbols unlike any known language. At the end of the tunnel stood a gigantic circular chamber. In its center floated a glowing sphere suspended in midair. As Ethan approached, the sphere awakened. A holographic figure appeared. It looked human, but its eyes were completely black. "We have been waiting for you, Ethan Carter." He froze. "Who are you?" The figure smiled. "We are the architects." Before Ethan could ask another question, memories flooded into his mind. He saw Earth thousands of years ago. Gigantic spacecraft descended from the stars. The pyramids were not tombs. They were enormous energy transmitters designed by an ancient extraterrestrial civilization to stabilize space-time itself. Human civilization had never built them alone. The architects had. Then the vision changed. He saw another location: ships, aircraft, entire crews disappearing into thick fog. The Bermuda Triangle. It wasn't a natural phenomenon. It was another space-time gateway connected directly to the pyramids. Every plane and every ship that disappeared had not been destroyed. They had crossed into another timeline. Suddenly, alarms echoed throughout the chamber. The hologram vanished. A mechanical voice spoke in perfect English. "They have found you." The walls opened. Dozens of human soldiers entered, except they were not human. As they approached, their skin began to ripple, their faces twisted unnaturally. Their eyes turned completely black. One after another, they revealed their true appearance. Tall gray creatures with elongated skulls, pale skin, and glowing blue veins. Aliens. For centuries, they had lived among humanity, disguised as ordinary people. They had become politicians, scientists, military leaders, billionaires, and even famous celebrities. Human history had been manipulated from the shadows for thousands of years. One of them stepped forward, We have controlled your species since the first civilization. We allowed you to believe you were free. Ethan backed away. What do you want from me? You activated the key. The metallic cube floated into the alien's hand. It opens every timeline. Before Ethan could react, the chamber exploded with brilliant white light. The floor disappeared beneath him. He fell into complete darkness. Then, silence. When Ethan opened his eyes, he was standing in New York City. Except something was wrong. The buildings stretched miles into the sky. Flying vehicles filled the air. No cars, no airplanes, no pollution. Digital moons orbited above Earth. He looked around in disbelief. A nearby holographic calendar displayed the date, year 2479. Humanity had survived, but not as humans. Every person he saw possessed glowing implants beneath their skin. Children communicated without speaking. Machines obeyed thoughts. There was no money, no governments, only one planetary authority. As Ethan wandered through the futuristic city, a little girl suddenly stopped and stared directly at him. You don't belong here. He froze. Who are you? She smiled sadly. I'm your granddaughter. His heart stopped. Impossible. You disappeared in 2026. I never had children. Not yet. She handed him a crystal. When you return, don't trust the president. The president! He isn't human. Before Ethan could ask another question, reality shattered once again. The city dissolved into light. He found himself falling through endless stars. Millions of timelines surrounded him like rivers flowing through the universe. Some Earths had never known humans, others were ruled by intelligent dinosaurs. Some had oceans covering every continent, others had giant pyramids floating in the sky. Every possible history existed somewhere, and someone, or something, was controlling which timeline survived. The crystal in Ethan's hand suddenly began to glow brighter than the stars surrounding him. Strange symbols floated around his body, forming a language his mind somehow understood without ever learning. A voice echoed from every direction at once. You have crossed the boundary. Few humans have ever reached this place. The endless rivers of time slowed until they became transparent windows. Ethan could see countless versions of Earth unfolding simultaneously. In one reality, humanity had mastered interstellar travel and lived peacefully among hundreds of alien civilizations. In another, Earth was nothing but a frozen wasteland after a catastrophic war. In another, dinosaurs still ruled the planet while humans had never evolved. Then he noticed something horrifying. In every timeline, the same figures appeared, the same black-eyed beings. Sometimes they ruled as kings, sometimes as presidents, sometimes as scientists, sometimes as religious leaders. Sometimes they remained invisible, manipulating history from the shadows. It was as if every civilization, no matter how different, eventually fell under their influence. They are everywhere, Ethan whispered. They always have been, replied the mysterious voice. Suddenly, the stars around him folded inward and he found himself standing inside a gigantic circular chamber, unlike anything he had ever imagined. The walls were made of living crystal, constantly changing color. Floating in the center was an enormous machine larger than a skyscraper, rotating silently while streams of light flowed through its rings. This is the chronosphere, said the voice. It is the heart of time itself. As Ethan approached, he saw billions of tiny lights inside the machine. Each one represented a universe. Each one represented a history. Each one represented countless lives. One small movement of the machine could erase entire civilizations as if they had never existed. Before he could process what he was seeing, footsteps echoed behind him. He turned slowly. Standing there was himself, not older, not younger. Exactly the same. The other Ethan smiled. You finally made it. Ethan's heart raced. Who are you? I am you. From another timeline. Before Ethan could respond, dozens of identical Ethans stepped out from the shadows. Some wore military uniforms. Some looked ancient. Some had cybernetic eyes. Some carried futuristic weapons. Others looked exhausted, as though they had been running for centuries. "We've all been trying to stop them," one of them said, "for thousands of timelines." Another Ethan shook his head. "And every time we fail." One of the older versions stepped forward. "The aliens don't invade planets. They invade history. They rewrite the past until the future belongs to them." Ethan finally understood. The wars, the disappearances, the unexplained historical events, even the greatest mysteries of humanity. Someone had been editing history itself. Suddenly, the chronosphere flashed red. A deep alarm shook the chamber. "They're here!" The crystal walls shattered. Massive triangular spacecraft emerged through glowing portals in space. Each ship was completely silent. No engines, no fire, only an eerie blue light. Millions of alien soldiers descended into the chamber. Their disguises disappeared instantly. The creatures were taller than any human, with pale gray skin, enormous black eyes, and symbols glowing across their bodies. One of them stepped forward. "We offered humanity guidance. You chose curiosity. Curiosity is dangerous." Without warning, the battle began. Energy beams crossed the chamber. Explosions echoed across reality itself. Entire timelines collapsed around them. One version of Ethan sacrificed himself to protect another. Another disappeared after being struck by a beam that erased him from existence. Not killed, erased, as though he had never been born. The surviving Ethans fought desperately, but the alien army was endless. Then Ethan remembered the crystal given to him by his future granddaughter. He raised it toward the chronosphere. The crystal floated from his hand and merged with the center of the machine. Everything stopped. Silence. The aliens froze. Time itself stopped moving. For one impossible moment, every universe became perfectly still. A message appeared before Ethan in glowing letters. "Choose one future." He looked around. He could save only one timeline, one Earth, one humanity. Billions of others would vanish forever. Tears filled his eyes. How could anyone make such a choice? He closed his eyes. Instead of choosing the strongest civilization, instead of choosing the richest, instead of choosing the most advanced, he chose the original Earth, the imperfect one, the world where people still dreamed, loved, made mistakes, and hoped for a better tomorrow. The chronosphere accepted his decision. A blinding wave of white light spread across existence. The alien fleet disintegrated into dust. Their control over history vanished. Every manipulated timeline collapsed until only one remained. Ethan woke up lying in the desert beside the Great Pyramid just before sunrise. Everything seemed normal. Tourists laughed, birds flew overhead, the metallic cube was gone, the hidden entrance had disappeared, no evidence remained. Had it all been a dream? As he walked toward Cairo, giant digital screens suddenly displayed the morning news. The president of one of the world's most powerful nations was giving a live speech. For less than a second, his eyes turned completely black. Then they returned to normal. Ethan stopped walking. His blood ran cold. The future had changed, but the invasion had not ended. It had only just begun. Ethan stood frozen in the middle of the street, unable to take his eyes off the giant screen. The president's eyes had turned black for only a fraction of a second, but that single moment confirmed everything he had seen beyond time. The architects were gone, but another race had survived. A race far older, far more patient, and far more dangerous. They had learned from their defeat. Instead of controlling history through force, they would control humanity from within. Ethan rushed home and opened every notebook he had ever written. He filled hundreds of pages with everything he remembered about the chronosphere, the Bermuda Triangle, the Great Pyramid, and the hidden alien civilization. He knew the world deserved the truth. Days later, he began receiving anonymous messages. "Stop searching. Delete your research. You are being watched." At first, he ignored them. Then strange things began to happen. Cars with dark windows followed him wherever he went. His phone recorded conversations he had never had. His computer turned on by itself in the middle of the night. Every security camera seemed to follow his movements. One evening, while reviewing satellite images of the Bermuda Triangle, his screen suddenly went black. A single sentence appeared. "Look behind you!" His heart pounded. Slowly, he turned around. Standing in the corner of the room was a man dressed in an ordinary black suit. He looked completely human. He smiled politely. "I've been waiting a long time to meet you, Dr. Carter." "Who are you?" The man tilted his head. "My real name cannot be pronounced by humans." His skin began to shimmer. For a moment, Ethan saw his true form, a tall creature with silver skin, glowing veins, and eyes that reflected entire galaxies. Then the disguise returned. "You destroyed one of our timelines, but there are countless others." Ethan stepped backward. "What do you want?" "A choice." The alien placed a small metallic object on the table. It was another cube, exactly like the first one. "You may open another timeline. You may save someone you lost. You may become the greatest scientist in history. You may discover every secret of the universe. There is only one condition. You must never reveal that we exist." Ethan looked at the cube. He thought about everything he had sacrificed: his career, his reputation, his friends, his future. For a brief moment, temptation filled his mind. Then he remembered the billions of lives that depended on the truth. Without hesitation, he picked up the cube and crushed it beneath a hydraulic press in his laboratory. The explosion of blue light shook the entire building. The alien smiled. "I was hoping you would do that." "What?" "The cube was never the key. You are." Before Ethan could react, the alien vanished into thin air. Only one sentence echoed through the laboratory. "The next gateway opens when humanity is ready." Years passed. Ethan never stopped searching. He published books. He gave lectures. He warned the world that not everyone walking among us was truly human. Most people laughed. Some believed him. Many called him insane. One cold winter evening, now an old man with gray hair, Ethan returned to Egypt for the final time. He stood before the Great Pyramid as the sun disappeared below the horizon. Nothing happened. He smiled. Perhaps humanity had finally been given another chance. As he turned to leave, the top of the Great Pyramid emitted a faint blue beam into the night sky. No one else noticed. High above Earth, hidden behind the moon, thousands of enormous triangular spacecraft silently awakened. Inside the largest vessel, millions of black eyes opened at the same time. A deep voice echoed through the fleet. "Phase 1 is complete. Prepare for humanity's first contact." Then, every screen on Earth suddenly flickered for exactly 1 second. No news channel explained it. No scientist could understand it. Most people forgot it happened, but somewhere, someone looked up at the stars and smiled. The end. If you enjoyed this story and want to see more thrilling adventures about time travel, extraterrestrial civilizations, ancient mysteries, conspiracy theories, and the unknown, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next journey. And if you'd like to help me continue creating bigger and better stories, please consider supporting me on Ko-fi. Even the smallest donation makes a huge difference and helps me keep bringing these adventures to life. Your support means the world to me. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next mystery.